You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxboro faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so be sure to smash that subscribe button. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Reach out to me. Let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. And while you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. Folks, it is Crossover Thursday, and in just a moment, Lorin Cox, host of the Locked On Bears podcast, will join me to cross the streams as we do each and every Thursday, getting you ready for Monday Night Football and the New England Patriots and the Chicago Bears, hooking it up at 8:15 kickoff time from Gillette Stadium in Foxboro, Massachusetts. And before Lorin joins me here today on the pod, please remember that Crossover Thursday is presented by our friends at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is so much fun, and it's easy to play. No competing with other players, just you versus the projections available. Pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their PrizePicks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. It can literally take less than 60 seconds to enter. That's right, folks. It's that easy. We love PrizePicks, and we know you will too. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON.
Welcome into this Crossover Thursday, Locked On Bears, Locked On Patriots here on the Locked On Podcast Network. I am Lorin Cox from Locked On Bears. I'm here with Mike Debate from Locked On Patriots, and we're getting ready for a big Monday night matchup here. Still our Crossover Thursday, even though we'll have an extra day before the game here, but we want to make sure you are ready to go entering your weekend ahead of this upcoming matchup. And Mike, I know it's been a funky, interesting season with New England. I'm sure that they'll have a lot of questions going about whatever a Bailey Zappi is, but what's sort of the biggest storyline you're seeing for this team heading into this game?
Well, without any question, it is definitely the question of whether or not Bailey Zappi is going to get the ball. The rookie has had it for the last 2 and plus games. Didn't get the start in week 4 against the Green Bay Packers. Came in relieving veteran quarterback Brian Hoyer, who suffered a concussion in that game and has since been placed on IR. But he is going to now face an opportunity where he could get the start in prime time on Monday night. And that's going to be a very big key for the New England Patriots. Who is going to get the ball? Reports now out of New England indicate that Mac Jones may be as far along from rehabbing his hurt high ankle sprain. He may be anywhere along 85 to 90% ready at this point. So if that's the case, it's going to be up to the team whether or not Mac gets the start or whether or not Bailey Zappi gets the start. And really, I think this is going to be a very interesting week and a very interesting few days coming up in New England when they return to the practice fields on Thursday.
Yeah, I think the rest of the NFL is dreading the idea of Bill Belichick finding another really good quarterback on day 3 of the draft to replace a first-round pick that maybe was a little bit underwhelming up to this point. So, yeah, I think all eyes are going to be on that. It'll be tough for the Bears to prepare. We'll see what they end up getting at quarterback. And I think for Chicago heading into this game, I think they also want to make it difficult for New England to prepare because they have had an extended time off. They last played last Thursday against the Washington Commanders. Going from a Thursday game to a Monday game has been like a mini bye week for them. They kind of took a step back and said, we're going to kind of reevaluate and meet with every single individual player and go through, things they've done well and things they still need to work on here moving forward. So everyone in Chicago is kind of looking around saying, like, are they going to make any changes? It's not going to be drastic necessarily, but they did swap out a wide receiver lower on their depth chart. They could try and rotate in, but will they change things up schematically? Could they change their offensive line combination, maybe their defensive line rotation? What kind of new wrinkles will they come out with? What will they have learned about themselves after a start of the season that, no one expected them to do much better than 2-4, but they've had some really disappointing finishes. They've been right in it in the fourth quarter in pretty much every game they've played this season, but they haven't been able to come out over the top. And they just played what felt like their worst, certainly offensive performance last week against the Washington Commanders, a team they had no business only scoring 7 points on. So it's like something close to rock bottom offensively last week. And I think Bears fans are going to be eager to say, okay, what can this team come out and do against New England that's different, that's fresh, that's new? And how can they better support Justin Fields in that process? Because that's sort of the underlying story behind all what the changes might be this week is how can they better support Justin Fields and get the most out of what he can do as a quarterback. So I think both eyes are going to be on what happens with both of these young quarterback situations. One, we're a little more sure who's going to be under center, but the other one, what are they going to do with Fields, and what are they going to be able to do with Zappe, and how can they open things up for both offenses?
Absolutely. And Lorin, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I think in a lot of ways, the New England Patriots face something very similar in terms of key storylines heading into this matchup. It's not just about who gets the start under center. It's about how he is supported. Whoever is going to be taking snaps as the starting quarterback, whether it's Mac Jones or whether it's Bailey Zappe, the Patriots have stumbled onto something here that seems to be making their offense not just serviceable, but also very effective. And that's the fact that they're taking a more back to basics approach with their offense. They want to benefit their signal caller, whoever that may be. And really, the two strengths, or the like-minded strengths, of both of these quarterbacks will allow both of them to be able to operate effectively. The Patriots are now utilizing pulling guards, the gap runs. That's kickstarted their running game. And Ramondre Stevenson, the second-year runner out of Oklahoma, has been tremendous for this team. He's running with a great deal of burst. He's running with a great deal of horizontal movement. And he's also showing the ability to find the seam and even catch the ball out of the backfield on third down. So if I'm a Bears fan, I'm looking at Ramondre Stevenson, number 38, and I'm looking at him very closely on Monday night, because if he starts getting traction, it could be a long day for the Bears defense. However, that being said, the Patriots offense is going to need to be more than just one-dimensional against the run. And we saw Matt Patricia manage the short intermediate areas of the field. Right now, Bailey Zappe is currently averaging 6.4 depth yardage per target. That's not exactly airing the ball out into deep yardage. But if you look at his completions, he's completing passes for 53 yards, 31 yards. People are looking at it and going, wow, these are monster numbers. Had a couple of very effective passes to his tight ends, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. One of those went for 53 yards. That was the pass to Jonnu Smith in the middle of the field. What Bailey did very well was utilize play action and be able to get the ball out of his hands, turned a 17-yard completion into a 53-yard gain because of excellent yards after the catch for Jonnu Smith. And Hunter Henry did the same in his touchdown just a few plays later. So this is where New England right now is going to have to be very diligent. Their offensive line has played well, much better than the first 3 games of the season, because they're coming into their own in terms of being able to block well and also in pass protection. Marcus Cannon has been a very good addition to this team as well, really spelling a guy who's struggling right now in Isaiah Wynn. So if the New England Patriots can do that and utilize everything around their quarterback, then they probably have an equal chance to be as effective as they have been, whether Zappe's in there or whether Mac Jones makes his return.
Certainly, it's been a weakness of the Bears defense all season, being able to stop the running game. And I'm sure, Bears fans heard of a guy like Ramondre Stevens, maybe from fantasy football, but especially this year, it's kind of been more his emergence. But just because it's not a, premier name in the backfield does not mean you can overlook what the Patriots have done on the ground game there. I'm with you 100%. I think the Bears are also going to want to try and run the ball too. And that's been kind of the strength of their offense. But we also know that Bill Belichick historically tries to take away whatever the opposing team does well and make you beat them, left-handed. So does that mean he tries to shut down the Bears running game and make Justin Fields throw? Or is more of the emphasis on keeping Justin Fields in the pocket and maybe trying to take away Darnell Mooney and saying, no, throw to other wide receivers? I don't know. Certainly the Bears offense has had trouble getting anything consistently going in the passing game. So it's not going to be tough for Bill Belichick to necessarily make life difficult on Fields, because so often the Bears themselves have made life difficult on Justin Fields. Just the players on the team has not made his life very easy. I want to get into some of the key matchups that are going to determine who wins this game and how the Patriots might be able to or not be able to take away some of the things the Bears want to do. And of course, how the Patriots might move the ball on the Bears as well. So we'll get into that and then get into some game predictions as our crossover Thursday podcast continues on this Locked On Podcast Network. Whether you're looking to pop the question or have a milestone to celebrate or just want to let your love sparkle, our friends at Blue Nile can help you make your celebrations even more memorable. As the original online jeweler, Blue Nile offers the largest selection of independently graded diamonds and pieces priced significantly below traditional retailers. Blue Nile has helped millions of couples create their perfect engagement ring. They've got a super easy to use online tool that lets you choose the diamond shape, the size, and clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then help you handcraft her perfect one-of-a-kind engagement ring. If you're just looking for a perfect piece of fine jewelry to commemorate a special milestone, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7 to help you pick the right gift at every budget. And you can shop stress-free with Blue Nile's 100% satisfaction guarantee. All the orders are shipped and insured for free in discreet packaging so that you won't know what's inside when it arrives. Make your moment sparkle with Blue Nile. Go to BlueNile.com and use our promo code LOCKEDON to save $50 on your first purchase of $500 or more. That's BlueNile.com, code LOCKEDON to save $50 on your purchase of $500 or more. That's BlueNile.com, code LOCKEDON. Lorin Cox and Mike Debate here from Locked On Bears and Locked On Patriots, respectively, getting ready for Monday's matchup between these two teams on this crossover Thursday podcast. And Mike, when I start to look at the matchups that will go far in between these two teams, I mentioned Darnell Mooney and whether or not Bill Belichick may try and take him away from the Bears passing game and say, hey, let some of these other no-name wide receivers in the Bears offense try and beat you. And I'm curious how well the Bears might be able to get a matchup between Mooney and Jalen Mills, because it seems like as I watch the Patriots, not that Mills has been terrible by any means, but if you're looking for a weaker link in the secondary, somebody that teams have been able to go after and, get some bigger plays on downfield, it seems like Mills has had moments this season of vulnerability on the back end. And I wonder, that sort of chess match between the Bears trying to get the matchup they want with their receivers versus Belichick trying to get the matchup he wants with their receivers. I'd be curious to see how well the Bears can isolate those types of one-on-ones that, if Fields can just throw it up to his guy and trust him to win downfield. That's where the Bears have found the explosive plays that they have had when they have been few and far between. Where are you looking at matchup-wise?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a matchup that I'm keeping my eye on the defensive side of the ball is how are the Bears going to be able to attack this Patriots secondary? And you're right, Mills has had moments where there have been lapses in his ability to stay with his stay with his target as a defender. And some of that has been because he's been battling a hamstring injury for the better part of 2 or 3 weeks now. So there have been opportunities where Mills can be had. The question mark right now with the Patriots is their secondary in terms of their other veteran presence, and that's Jonathan Jones, who's technically is their probably most seasoned cornerback in this system, was one of the best in terms of being a slot corner in previous years, made the move to the perimeter this year and has been very effective. But he's been out with an ankle injury, so it's very difficult for the Patriots to be able to field a full crew back there. Very fortunate for New England. They have a pair of Jones rookies that are really doing the job right now, and they're doing it very well. Jack Jones has been a force on the perimeter. And Marcus Jones came in and played a little bit in the slot this weekend, earned himself an interception. So when you look at the New England Patriots secondary, that may be an area where the Bears say, you know what, we're going to test this a little bit. Our passing game hasn't been necessarily the best part of our offense, but if they can start testing the secondary a little bit and completing passes and utilizing guys like Mooney, we've seen them utilize maybe the tight end, Cole Kmet, come in and do a little bit. Kyle Duggar has any difficulty being able to hang with him, that could be an area where the Patriots defense has given up some areas in the past. So these are things that the passing game can utilize. But most importantly, I think what the Patriots are going to be looking to do is to isolate and also stop the run of the Bears attack, because that to me is where they can be most effective against this team. And right now, you want to talk about vulnerability on the defensive side of the ball, Lorin. Patriots might be vulnerable on their run defense as well. Their run defense has been very good the last couple of games. I want to give an awful lot of credit to guys like Devon Godchow, Carl Davis coming in off the bench, Christian Barmore, even guys like Dietrich Wise and Matt Judon, who are technically pass rushers and they put pressure on the quarterback, they've been assisting tremendously when it comes to getting in place to help stop the run. But with Barmore's health right now a question mark, and he left Sunday's game with a knee injury, we're not sure what's going to happen yet. We're still waiting for the first injury report of the week to come out. That will not be out for the Patriots until late on Thursday afternoon. So with Barmore's health being a question right now, that could be an area where this team's a little bit vulnerable. And the Bears, they can, do what they can on the ground. They're averaging 170.8 yards per game, 5.2 yards per carry. I know David Montgomery's been banged up a little bit, but they've gotten great, production from Khalil Herbert, and not to mention the fact that Justin Fields is very capable of running the ball as well. So if there's an area that really concerns me right now with the Patriots, probably a little bit more on run defense than on pass defense, because Patriots have been able to plug and play there pretty well. Eventually, the loss of someone like a Christian Barmore and even a Lawrence Guy, who's been on the shelf the last 2 games with a shoulder injury, is eventually going to catch up with you.
We've been talking a lot about Bears offense versus Patriots defense, and maybe that's the side that'll be a little bit less exciting because of how the Bears offense has struggled. But on the other side of the ball, I'm looking at the Bears pass rush that has just not been up to the level that they've needed it to be this season. They have, especially, on the interior, they haven't got nearly as much of a push up front there. And Robert Quinn has been one of the most double teamed pass rushers in the NFL. So his sack numbers are way down from where they were last season when he set a new franchise record with 18.5. But the Bears are waiting for, one of these younger guys to step up and make a big spark, have that big kind of flash play to change a game. Just, it doesn't have to be, 60 snaps of dominance, but that one strip sack, that one force fumble, that one play to flip something. And I look at this Patriots offensive line, and as you were saying, like, they've been playing a lot better. And I know they just benched Isaiah Wynn again last week. I'm assuming. Do we know whether Marcus Cannon is going to start again at right tackle, or is Wynn going to stay on the bench, or is that still, because if it's Wynn, that could be a plus matchup for the Bears. But if it's Cannon, I imagine you feel a little bit more confident about that right side of the line.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Right now, there have been at least multiple cries across Patriots media, maybe even across, some of the fan base as well, wanting to see Marcus Cannon get in there and get the start. And we may very well see that on Monday night. Isaiah Wynn continues to get the start here. And I think what the Patriots need to remember is that this is still an extremely talented tackle, no matter where he plays on the side of the ball. His problem has been discipline. He's getting whistled for penalties at an alarming rate, 7 in the last 4 games for the New England Patriots, 8 overall throughout the season, and they're untimely penalties. And he's getting beat at the worst possible time. I know a lot of fans are pointing to Myles Garrett getting around him and then obviously getting the strip sack and the fumble on Bailey Zappi. When you get beat by Myles Garrett, it's not really something where you can blame the opposite end. That is a very tough guy to cover. So for everyone that really wants to get on Isaiah Wynn for that, I caution you to take a look at the tape on Myles Garrett. Very few people are able to get the better of that guy. But bottom line, Isaiah needs to be better. He needs to be in position more. I don't know if it's a situation where he just needs to get his head in the game a little bit more, or if there is some difficulty and some problems that he's had moving from the left side to the right side, because Trent Brown has been phenomenal on the left side for the New England Patriots. So that could be an area that definitely is an area of concern if the Pats want to make sure that they're providing proper protection for either Mac Jones or for Bailey Zappi. But once again, I think it comes back to Matt Patricia's calling style, that back-to-basic style where the quarterback is operating under center, utilizing play action because the run is facilitating that. It just allows this offense to flow so much better. The tight ends get open, and you can use them as weapons in the field. And you saw Bailey Zappi do that effectively with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, as I previously mentioned. And even guys catching the ball out of the backfield, like a Ramondre Stevenson, or possibly even someone like a rookie like Pierre Strong. This could be a good game for him to be able to get on track and get going. And then when all else fails, they've got a pretty speedy wide receiver for the first time in a good long while. I know a lot of people are excited about Tyquan Thornton up here in New England. Saw a little bit of what he could do, not just utilizing his speed to get over the top and to get a passing touchdown, but also taking the ball out of the backfield and running a jet sweep. So New England's got a lot of areas where they can be effective. The only question is will their game plan allow them to continue to do it?
Mike, I appreciate how you talk about the Patriots and even in the Bears in this matchup, how we're sort of painting it as like, the Patriots have to do these things to get better. It's also important for us to keep in mind that the Patriots are 9-point home favorites at BetOnline right now. We're talking like the tone right now is like, oh, these two teams are both have some good and some bad, and we'll see who wins. But there is a very clear favorite here, and we'll kind of go through our predictions for this game and wrap up with our final preview thoughts for our Monday Night Football matchup as this crossover Thursday Locked On Bears, Locked On Patriots podcast continues.
Absolutely. Patriots fans and Bears fans, here is a sports analogy for you. When it comes to burglars, your home is like the end zone, and you need the absolute strongest defense you can muster. That's why I use and trust SimpliSafe Home Security. At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. It's cutting-edge technology powered by 24/7 professional monitoring agents who always have your back, so you always know if your home is safe. SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment a threat is detected and dispatch police or first responders in an emergency. And they do that even if you're not home or you can't be reached. Advanced sensors for every room and window and door, HD security cameras for inside and outside your home, just smarter ways to detect motion that only alert you when a threat is real, and even hazard sensors that instantly detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. So customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes with SimpliSafe.com. You go to SimpliSafe.com/LockedOnNFL to save 20% on your SimpliSafe security system when you sign up for an interactive monitoring plan. And you can get your first month free. That's right, folks. Great deals all about. So visit SimpliSafe.com/LockedOnNFL to learn more. There's no safe like SimpliSafe. Patriots fans, Bears fans, it has been a blast talking to my good friend and colleague, Lorin Cox, host of Locked On Bears, as the Patriots and the Bears get set for a Monday night showdown at Gillette Stadium, 8:15 Eastern kickoff from Foxboro, Massachusetts. And Lorin, we've talked about defensive matchups, offensive matchups, quarterbacks, concerns. Surprisingly, the name N'Keal Harry has not come up. My listeners are definitely happy about that, but we know this could sneaky be his debut, and what an amazing debut it would be to have him come back against his former club. But all kidding aside, my friend, this one always comes down to the matchups. It comes down to coaching matchups, but it also comes down to who plays better on the field. And when we talk about game predictions, if the Bears are to pull this out, in your opinion, how do they do it? And how do you see this one playing out on Monday night in Foxboro?
Yeah, I have very little confidence in the Bears being able to pull this one out. I mean, I really thought last week against the Commanders, the Bears needed to come out and show the league that, hey, like they're a lot better than bad teams like the Washington Commanders. And to lose that game, the Bears really established themselves as a legitimately not good football team. So if the Bears were to pull something off like this, it would take a lot of things clicking all of a sudden in a way that they just haven't consistently this season. The Bears have been a very good second half team, but Bill Belichick said as much in his 7-minute opening press conference ramble about all the nice things he had to say about the Bears, which usually is a sign of Bill Belichick talking about a team that's not very good. He spends time complimenting teams that aren't very good, but he pointed out like they've only given up 2 touchdowns in second halves all season, and they've been largely outscoring opponents really well in that area of the field. So if the Bears are going to win, they need to have a much better first half than we've seen from them. They need to come out a little bit more proactive instead of reactive at halftime like they have been, and really, get things rolling more in rhythm with Justin Fields earlier in the game rather than later in the game when it finally seems to start to click, and defensively to kind of stay a step or two ahead of a young quarterback like Bailey Zappi. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think they will play well in the second half, and Patriots might not score in the second half, but they may score plenty enough points in the first half to not need to score, at least not touchdowns, in the second half. So if I had to put numbers on it, I would probably put the Patriots pretty comfortable in this one. I'd say 24-10 or 24-13 Patriots, where I don't think they'll put up the 38 they got against Cleveland last week, but I don't think they'll have too much trouble. And, the Bears score a touchdown in the second half to bring it back into something a little bit more closely. But overall, I think Zappi's wild run, assuming he's starting, or if it's Mac Jones coming back, either one, I think that they should be able to continue a lot of the success that they've had, and the Bears will ultimately make them earn it in the second half, but not have them sweating too much when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think we're actually like-minded in this one, and not to be too much of a homer, but I do see the Patriots having the advantage in this one for a lot of the reasons we discussed in the previous segment. I don't think the Patriots are going to try to test Chicago's secondary all that much and try to beat them through the air. They're going to continue the same formula that they've used for the last 2.5 games. It's worked very well. Control the short intermediate area of the field, utilize play action to facilitate the run and vice versa, and also utilize your two tight end sets and maybe even take a deep shot every now and then with your wide receivers. But those will be very few and far between. I only think the deep shots come if Mac Jones plays in this game. If it's Bailey Zappi, he's going to continue to do what he does best, and that is utilize play action under center to facilitate short yardage gain. I think that's how the Patriots control the clock, control the tempo, and ultimately I think they'll drain a lot of time off using Ramondre Stevenson as their lead back. Even if Damian Harris is able to go in this game, Ramondre is still going to get the majority of the carries, and that's going to be something that Chicago is going to have to be able to try to contain. And up till this point, Chicago's run defense has been suspect, and I think the Patriots realize that, and they can utilize that to their advantage. So I like the New England Patriots in this one by a final of 24-14, but I agree with you. I don't think the Patriots are going to score at will. I think in the second half, you're going to see those clamps come down from Chicago and try to make this a little bit more of a game. If the Patriots want to control this, they've got to get out to a fast start.
By scoring multiple touchdowns in a game, it sounds exciting for Bears fans. So if they get to 14, that'd be a fun back and forth there for sure. So just to sort of recap here, in this Bears Patriots matchup, I think both teams are going to want to run the ball and kind of take the pressure off of their young quarterback, whoever it might be starting for the Patriots in this game. And both teams feel like they can find an advantage with a lot of their skill talent in that backfield. Both teams running the ball really well this season. Offensive lines maybe even better in run blocking than in pass protection from what we've seen. And that could lead to a lower scoring game. You know, if you're looking at betting the over under, maybe the under could be an intriguing option there. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll change everything in this time off and switch to deep shots on play action all game long. But I don't know. It could make for a little bit more of a lower scoring defensive battle. But like you were saying, like I think we both trust the Patriots defense to be able to stop the Bears running game a little bit more than the Bears defense to be able to stop the Patriots running game. Plus just the last couple of games we've seen of Bailey Zappi being able to have pretty good production despite not being that deep ball receiver. Like you said, I mean, they can nickel and dime this Bears defense down the field. We saw the Vikings do that on a 17 play, 7-minute drive in the fourth quarter a couple of weeks ago. So there's some vulnerability there that I just think over the course of a game, the Bears will keep it tough at the end, but I don't think the Bears can hold them down at least early enough in the game to keep a deficit within reach. And maybe they'll try and keep it close down the stretch, but that 10 to 14 point kind of victory feels about right.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think that the Patriots get this one by about 10. But again, you mentioned earlier about the Patriots secondary. If Justin Fields can test that could change the complexity of this game. So before any Bears fan goes into this game thinking this one's wrapped up, it's done before it ever started, that's why they play these games on the field, folks. Anything and everything can happen. The New England Patriots, as well as they're playing right now and as happy as our fan base is, and they have every right to be, they're not a juggernaut that can't be moved at this point. So anything and everything can happen. And I'm looking forward to this game because anytime these two franchises get together, there's always memorable moments, whether it be the 86 Super Bowl or whether it be something a little more fun for us to remember, Tom Brady juking Brian Urlacher. But, there's always a lot of history between these two franchises. And I, for one, cannot wait to watch this one on Monday from Gillette.
I'm sure these two teams will kind of from a distance be compared down the stretch as we see the careers of Mac Jones and Justin Fields continue to play out. And if the Bailey Zappi thing derails that, I know Bears fans will be keeping an eye on how that one plays out. So Mike, it's been a lot of fun. I'm hoping that this week's primetime Chicago Bears game is a lot more exciting than last week's primetime Chicago Bears game for your sake. I hope that's more exciting for us as well. And best of luck on Monday. I guess we can both root for neither team to add any major injuries for the rest of the season.
Absolutely, my friend. Always have a clean game, have a healthy game for everybody, and may the best team win. And we're looking forward to it.
That's going to do it for our crossover Thursday Locked On Bears, Locked On Patriots here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Bears or Locked On Patriots your first listen each and every day. Now, if you're looking for your second listen, check out the Peacock and Williamson NFL show here in the Locked On Podcast Network. Host Brian Peacock alongside former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis in less than 30 minutes. It's the big picture, lead wide look at the NFL, and it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Then come on back tomorrow for Locked On Bears or Locked On Patriots and get yourself ready for this Monday night football matchup. Make us your first listen each and every day, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.